at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back into WTIM, your information station. Time now for our final segment of the WTIM morning show, this time with Valerie Belusco, a community and economic development educator with the University of Illinois Extension. Thanks to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. Valerie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for taking the time coming in with us. We've had some interesting topics we've covered in our last couple of segments, and it's not changing today. We're going to be talking just a little bit about the ways in which government and business locally can make themselves just a little bit more attractive, a little bit better places to be. Am I going in the right direction with this, Valerie? Uh-oh. You're cutting out on us a little bit, Valerie.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
We hear you perfectly now.
So I actually participated in an amazing webinar recently, which was put on by the by Penn State University,
okay,
and by an organization called the Blue Trunk Foundation. And they were talking about how to make sure that we're thinking about everyone in our community. So being accessible to everyone. And they were really talking about it from an extension perspective,
sure,
but I started thinking about it from a business and small government perspective. So that is what I'd love to chat about today.
Okay, more accessibility here. And then this is a great time to do it because we have a lot of businesses new and that are expanding and just a lot of movement and incentives, business and economically speaking here. So, I mean, there's a lot to know in terms of those incentives, but it can be as easy as making your business just nice to walk inside of. So can we just get let's start with the business side of things locally here. What's your first thing for us?
So I think a lot of times we think about things like, are there places to sit during, and people need to sit.
Yeah, yeah.
But do we stop to think about what kind of chairs we have available? How many times have you been somewhere where you see that there's a variety of chairs available for you to sit in?
Not too many times. No, it's just that one little bench there.
Right. Well, some people, maybe people like me, who are in their early 40s and have already decided to blow out a knee, some people like me might need chairs that have armrests.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for me to get up and down when I have armrests to kind of push off of. And other people, they might not like that. In fact, some people might have issues where they just need to be able to fidget a little bit in their seat. Might have some hip mobility problems and they might like to fidget a little bit. And so they might like to choose an option where they don't have the constraints of armrests. So just having a few different seating choices available is always a good idea.
Simple, easy fix right there. That would make me, for one, want to come back. You brought up a very real situation why you would want armrests and even caring about the type of chair, the armrest is a very, very real reason right there. But just having chairs and seating is a plus right there. I'm a boyfriend whose girl likes to shop quite a bit, and I like to have a rest. And that's not you blow out your knee there, Valerie. We're not in the same, or we're not talking about the same things there. But just having seating is just going to make it an all around better experience for everyone involved.
It really does. And sometimes, even moms that are shopping for their kids, when it comes for the kids to try clothes on, maybe mama needs a rest, right?
Yeah.
So for them to sit down and take a load off, it really helps ease some of the tension. It helps give people a more relaxed environment so that they aren't in a rush to get out so that they can be comfortable elsewhere. What you want to do is create an environment where they're comfortable and they want to stay and they want to shop and they want to keep spending money. So, just having different types of chairs around in the right places can really make a place more attractive.
Totally. All right. So that's the business side of things there. Kind of flipping the coin, looking at local business. I've been to some of these meetings, and they can be a little bit more inviting, but they can probably definitely be more accessible. So switching the topic to local government. What do you have to say about that?
So, local government, I know a lot of our local government bodies are under some constraints.
Yeah.
I went to a lot of town meetings where the town halls are honestly very small, very outdated. And so there isn't necessarily a lot of room around the table per se. But there are changes that you can make and investments that you can make to make things more comfortable. One of the things you want to do is always make sure that you have room for guests. You want to make sure that the community feels like they can come in and be a part of the discussion or listen in. Having transparency is always incredibly important. And so having extra room available for community members is important, and making sure that they're not just standing in the back in a corner is very important. So I've been in some fabulous rooms where there's lots of chairs, lots of seating, and the layout is great. And I've been in other rooms where there is a massive table that can seat about 20 people, but you kind of have to strategically get into your spot, and then once you're seated, you really have to stay there the rest of the time. So thinking about ways that you can kind of make changes, maybe finding a smaller table that just the council members need to sit around, then having kind of a gallery of chairs off to the side for the public. Maybe that would help make things a little bit easier for people to get in and out, to sit, to feel a little bit more welcome, and not so crowded.
Yeah. It already kind of does feel like a disconnect between the board and the public seating area, and it'll feel even more vast if you don't even have a place to sit there. So if we do have a spot in the meeting and we're sitting there, how are ways that these boards can make people feel like they're more involved?
Well, when it is a government entity, they do have to adhere to their agenda, and most of the time, some types of rules of order. A lot of them use the Robert's Rules of Order. So usually, there's only like specific times for the public to come in and talk. Typically, that is at the beginning of a meeting, or maybe there's a section on the agenda that's open, and visitors are given so many minutes where they can talk.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not important to be there to talk. Sometimes it's important to be there and listen. And then think about later, how can I help? How can I help my community? What can I do? Maybe I just wanted to learn the real story straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
So being there and being welcoming and inviting, it really helps to mitigate any kind of issues with people feeling unwanted or not heard, knowing that there's always a seat at the table for them, a proverbial table, is always important. So making sure that they feel and understand like there's a place for them to come if they would like to, is a way to always include them. And I know in some of our small towns right now, we are really struggling to find council members who are willing to serve. It's hard. And so sometimes just getting people involved in the beginning, getting them to come to council meetings and see what they're like, what they're about, what kind of work is being done, is a great way to help people understand that the job isn't so scary, and that, you can run for this office. So always a great thing to think about when you're looking for somebody new in the future to run for those positions.
Yeah. While the rules for those public comments are in place for specific reasons, are there downfalls? Are there problems to public comments being only about 3 minutes long, and then usually, oftentimes, I'd say most times, the board is not having any discussion. Those public comments are just there for people to speak, and there's no discussion being had with the actual board.
Well, yes, that can be sometimes troubling or frustrating, but that is usually done to create efficiency. And so just because you may only be given 3 minutes to come speak at a meeting, that does not mean you can't go to a meeting and then, if a vote has not been made, or if it's something that's just in discussion, reach out to council members one-on-one later. And have longer discussions with them to either learn more or to give more of your opinion, because that's really when council members start to think about the viewpoints that others are bringing in. And then that's when they pull back and they take that to the full council. So always think always think about ways that you can still get your words and your thoughts across, but understand that government does have to be efficient in some manners, even though we often think it's inefficient.
Sure.
We really do have to make it efficient in some manners, and so that's just one of the ways that we try to do that.
Yeah, without a doubt, all really about getting the public in that, as you said, at the proverbial table, and just having their awareness. We're gonna have much more from Valerie Beluska when we come back from this quick timeout. She's the Community and Economic Development Educator with the University of Illinois Extension. You've been listening to the WTIM Morning Show. We'll be right back.
Your information station, WTIM.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. We're green across the board. September corn up 5.5, 401 1/4. December corn 411 3/4, up 4.5, and March corn 425 3/4, up 4 3/4. August beans up 4 3/4, 11.18. September beans up 4 1/4, 10.68. New crop November 10.72 1/4. Up 5 1/4. September wheat up 16.5, 5.78. December wheat $6 3/4, up 15 3/4. August bean meal 341.20. That's up $2. August bean oil up 99 cents, 47.33. Livestock market August feeders up $1.30, 255.65. August live cattle 182.67, up 42 cents. And July lean hogs, 88.62, up 17 cents. Energy market August crude oil, 81.98, down 12 cents. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Proven banking solutions are a must for today's business owner. Hi, I'm Lance Vonderheide with People's Bank and Trust. If your company needs products like online bill pay, remote deposit, and payroll direct deposit, or better checking and saving account options, then we need to talk. I can customize our business banking and lending plans to fit your company's needs. Call 888-PBT-1954 or visit bankpbt.com today. We want to be your business banking partner. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation aims to foster, promote, and stimulate economic development, from keeping existing industry and retail businesses successful and thriving to attracting new investment in Shelby County. The Shelby County Economic Development Corporation is here to help your business grow. It also sponsors job fairs to fill positions at existing employers and encourages future entrepreneurs in the Shelby County CEO program. Find out more on the Shelby County Economic Development Corporation by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Christian County businesses now have another way to attract customers and promote their brand. The Miller Media Group's new 36 by 72-inch two-sided electronic sign is now live in front of our Park Street studios in Taylorville. We're offering businesses the opportunity of promoting themselves to the over 11,200 drivers a day that pass our studios. Reach out to your Miller Media Group account manager now to get on board with this digital electronic sign advertising opportunity.
Just Beds are the yawn exterminators, and they can give you a better night's sleep. Choose from Bemco, Chatham & Wells, Sealy, Simmons, and Tempur-Pedic. Find out the many models and styles available on their updated website by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Thank Byers Chiropractic in Pana for all your spring and summer aches, pains, and injuries. Let me, Dr. Bill Byers, and Dr. Ethan Harper help you. Learn more at byerschiro.com or click on my banner at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
And welcome back to WTIM, your information station, in the middle of our conversation with Valerie Beluska, Community and Economic Development Educator with the University of Illinois Extension. Thanks so much to our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. That first half, we talked all about business and small local government, and making these meetings or making entry into their businesses just more inviting, and the ways you can do that. And we ended up talking with Valerie about accessibility in these local government meetings. We're gonna stick right on that. Valerie, what's another way that these meetings can become more inviting? And it's oftentimes these things that people aren't thinking about too often.
Well, I know as part of a council, oftentimes you are really thinking about getting down to business and getting down to work. But something that's very important is making sure that you greet your guests. If you do have people that are sitting in the gallery, that are visiting, that are listening, make sure you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
This is not a plug for you to get their vote. This is to welcome them. And when you're doing that, it can be incredibly important to say, hey, I'm really glad you came today. I want to make sure that you have everything you need in order to fully hear and see everything. Is there anything that we can do to make things better for you? And this gives them an opportunity to say, well, maybe I have a hearing problem. If I could be closer to the speaker or sit closer to the front. Or maybe I'm visually impaired. Do you have a copy of the agenda that's actually blown up so it's a little bit bigger and easier for me to read? Yeah. Having those little things available and just ready at the drop of a hat can mean so much to the person that is taking time out of their day and their schedule to come and participate, and really makes them feel included and wanted and as if they have a place to belong. So I think that perspective can be really important.
Yeah, that also sends a message to the other people in the public that they're making these arrangements for this person. I think my needs will be heard and that can be covered. Are people making that connection?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're talking right now with Valerie Belusco, Community and Economic Development Educator with the U of I Extension. You talked a little bit about hearing and visually impaired accessibility, what directions these boards can go to make it just a little bit easier on those people. Do you want to throw in any more facts and ways that businesses can actually promote themselves and get customers back in their doors? You mentioned the benches aspect, very, very easy. It's right in front of your face right there, but it's a thing a lot of people forget about. What's another one?
Another thing that businesses have to do, I know we all want to have all of our merchandise out and we want to be able to kind of almost overwhelm the customer with options, right? But please think about how can customers easily walk through your business where they don't feel like they're going to be brushing something off of the displays, Is there enough room for them to get through? Is there enough room for a wheelchair to get through or a stroller to get through? Moms love to shop for their kids, but when I was a young mom, if there were places that were not stroller friendly, if I could not the stroller, I didn't go in there because I just didn't that. And so they were losing a customer right there.
Yeah.
So that's always something important to think about. Another thing that used to be more popular back in the 70s and 80s, but I've started to see a return, so I'm going to mention it. Everything comes back around in fashion. It used to be really popular to have glass shelves or glass display cases. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful, and it's a great way to kind of keep your merchandise safe. But having glass everywhere, especially when it comes to glass shelving, it can be hard on some customers, especially customers that have any type of depth perception issues or glare issues. If the light is the lighting comes from the top and is glaring off of those shelves, and so it can be detrimental for them and for you as the business owner, because they might set something down just a little too heavy and might break that object or might break the shelves. They might hurt themselves. So thinking about that, display cases are great. Usually when you have those display cases, they're right up front and you have someone, a employee there kind of watching and helping. But when you have the shelves throughout the store with glass, it can pose some additional problems for shoppers and might make some people feel uncomfortable to shop in the establishment.
Absolutely. These demographics totally exist, and the changes that you bring up, and they're probably oftentimes just glossed over by business owners. There's so many things that they're going to have to worry about, and these small aspects right there are so important on getting customers back in the door and creating a full community engagement there. So Valerie, we are totally out of time here, but I appreciate you for taking the time today.
Well, thank you for having me, and you know what? Just have a wonderful rest of your week and pay attention to these little things when you go into stores in the future.
I really will be now. Valerie, thanks so much once again. She's the Community and Economic Development Educator at the University of Illinois Extension. This has been the WTIM Morning Show.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
food and energy, these numbers came in better than expected, and consumers are obviously